Welcome back everyone to Let's Play Decisive Campaigns Barbarossa, episode number 14. And this is turn 8, which is round 9, because I count my round 1 as turn 0, since you don't really do anything in that one. Anyway, Army Group Center this time, we don't have that much to do, but we're getting to the point where attacks are starting to have, well they're starting to be difficult. We started with this. Did I forget to reset that last time? Anyway, we did almost nothing to these guys, just destroyed some tanks, but you know, we only took just a few losses for it. And what I want to do is I'm just going to be doing some attacks to push back the east a little bit in order to save, hopefully save our Panzer group from any attacks while they're a little bit depleted. So where do you want to move? 35, 35, 90, 90. I think I'll have this guy go here, this guy go here. The goal is we're just trying to cover the potential vulnerable points. So any place where they can attack one of our units with multiples of theirs, so this is another good example. I want to make sure we push back there to try to give them less incentive for doing their attacks. We'll also move in here and do an attack with 4 people on there too. Wow, that did not... Well, okay, it was about 3 to 1, actually slightly better than 3 to 1, and that doesn't include that we messed up a lot of their equipment. I'm gonna go ahead and call that good enough. Now the trick here is if we don't actually, I don't think we actually want to move in. And then so far so good, and you know, they do have these massive stacks of units which we don't plan to do anything against. Weak units here is which we just pushed back. That's the weak tank we push back. Goal is again just to try to persevere one more turn, and then Guderian's forces will be ready to act again, but they're a little bit weak for the moment, and obviously it's like the entirety of Russia has suddenly shown up on the eastern front of Army Group South. Alright, this unit is a little bit exposed, and I'm probably going to want Hugo and his boys to help in another attack. What I'd like to do is just cut off one more unit, just one unit at a time here. And that will give us an attack we can do on this guy. We can also assist that attack by doing the attack from 3 sides like so. We don't have very much fuel, like at all. So I want to keep these attacks to the minimum. In fact, something I really want to do before I do anything is I want to make sure that I get this guy on the road and move him forward like that. Now that puts this 5th Infantry out of range. We'll rectify that. In fact, we can probably rectify that immediately. Yeah, so he can move here, and then if we do clear zone of control, which might happen if we eliminate this, push this guy back, and then actually eliminate that guy, then we'll, yeah, that'll mean that. By the way, can anybody else here do an attack? No, just the one who just moved in. Yeah, so we actually need somebody else here to help defend because we have 2 weak infantry. Anyway, these guys all have very low action points, 55. 100 on the motorized, and then 40, only 40 on Hugo, but will still give us the concentric bonus. The funny thing is, if we got rid of Hugo, we only lose a small amount of the bonus because we're attacking with multiple armies or not. But I think this is the right way of playing it. Okay, actually could have fooled me for a second there, but they did panic. I mean, that's probably lucky, but this is good in the end. 600, 4,000, yeah, those are good odds. I'll take them. So Hugo could move forward. I'm not sure if we will. I'm not sure if we're going to move here at all. The motorized probably should. In which case we'll do the full movement there. I'm not even sure. Okay, so we have 96. We have like no fuel. Be very minimal in my fuel consumption here henceforth. You cannot attack him. Notice that. It's just mind-boggling. So if we want to attack this unit, what we can do is 1, 2. That person's probably moving forward. You can move forward and do an attack, but just look at, I mean, I don't know why all of 4th Army has such low action points. Just minus 10 AP because of fatigue. So we're gonna have to rest these guys probably as soon as the Guderians are back up. Probably gonna have to rest 4th Army. Thank God, I mean honestly, the timing of 2nd Army arriving, we actually could have used it a couple turns earlier to try to refresh 4th Army. And you know, the fact that 4th Army is weak means that 9th Army is probably also in need of a rest. That's cool though, the wheels are coming off, right? This is the way you kind of want it to go. So anyways, we can do a 3-sided attack. And I think that that's still what we'll end up doing. You technically can attack as well, but nobody can go attack from the north. So what I'm going to do, you can attack, you can attack, and you can attack. But if we don't bring in the other army, we get a better concentric bonus. So we're at 40%, otherwise it can drop to 20%. And I think we're just going to go with this, and they're probably going to run out of action points. I don't think Hugo can attack. No, he cannot. He's exactly 0, so he can do nothing. We'll do this attack. It should be a good one for us. We actually, wow. We got that. I think that was lucky. I'm pretty sure that was lucky. I did not expect for us to. I don't know how this guy was even able to continue that long in the attack. 9 rounds. Nobody had. They had very little action points left, but I'm not exactly sure how they continue to. Wow, so 800 for 10,000. We'll take it. That also means that they're not going to have this pressure. The Soviet forces won't have that added pressure to try to go and take back this territory. I mean, they might counterattack anyway, but there won't be the incentive for them to counterattack in order to liberate a comrade behind enemy lines. We won't get that guy to move forward. Yeah, otherwise... So it's really about 4th Army, and actually... do have a little bit of fuel. And... yeah, we can move south 1 hex. That will get these guys into range. And we did not leave these guys out of range. Good. So everyone's back under a command radius, which is great. Funny that I guess Guderian can move, but none of his, subordinate troops can. Alright, we won't be doing this attack, but that's probably not a bad place for us to move. Let's see. Or do we want to move in here? I mean, I guess if we're going to move in, we should move in with these guys, because they'll be a stronger force. And then this guy can move here, and then we have double there. And that just means that the hexes that have Guderian's forces are much less interesting of a target. Basically here, here, these are, I mean, obviously the 3 sides of surround on this hex is a lot more juicy. And yeah, 4th Army is just going to keep kind of moving south, I think. Move in there. You can't do anything, so I'll just move you across. And nobody else can move here because they're both Guderian's forces. That's armor, which means fuel, which means no. Okay, so I think everyone's done with their movement for the turn, and that's basically, well, not true. The untruthful part of that is that we haven't moved 9th Army yet, which we'll get to in a second. But basically, I don't think that 3rd Panzer Group is going to move at all because they simply can't. So it does mean that we did choose correctly. This was, in fact, a very good turn to be resting people. I had a couple guys there, otherwise start pumping a bunch of people into here. Just getting them ready. I'm not sure what we'll do next turn, but we'll be ready to move next turn, whatever it is that we plan to do. So you can move here. But let's be prudent about this. Probably need to do something like this. And then you can move here. And you might as well move forward 1. So we aren't quite out of the woods with the 147th Rifle up here. They could slip behind enemy lines, so we're going to have to do basically a follow-up attack next turn. I wonder, I like debated whether or not it would be good to get this guy across the river. It would be so that we could attack better, but at the same time, I think we'll be out of supply. Out of supply. So let's just call it there. We probably could have done that army group center turn a little bit faster, but we'll just endeavor to do better next time. Let's do our decisions and then end the turn. Convert German locomotives. So this is an opportunity to give us more fuel at the expense of trains. I don't really understand the decision. I even looked in the manual about this to see if there's any notes about doing it. So I essentially don't know the long-term ramifications of doing it. Is it just political point cost? Anyway, we can oppose the conversion, which will make Gurkha happy. I mean, I have been... we have really good relations with him already, so I don't need the relations boost. And I just feel like we may not need the extra fuel though, and I'd rather keep our trains running well. So, I don't know. Our trains maintain their efficiency. Yeah. So I don't want our trains that... I think that trucks are usually the worse of the two, or the more limiting of the two. But I still think that it might as well keep our... I mean, if trucks end up being the limit, it's not usually fuel that is the problem. It's the fact that the trucks aren't bringing... There's not enough trucks to bring it forward. And we'll have some truck refit decisions to make very, very soon. Fuel deliveries. So there's some scheduling issues. I usually ask Gurkha to cooperate because I think that basically he's... Okay, good. So we avoided a bad outcome. And, Gurkha's a little bit upset, but we actually still have strong relations with him. That's fantastic. And we'll make him a little happier. We'll make von Brauchitz a little bit more upset. We'll put more points into Army Group South. Ooh, that's a good one. Definitely want that one. That's probably the best one that can come up. And now, here's a deburdening of our train in Army Group North. So we have these convoys that are running in the water. Those look like U-boats to me, but they're actually merchant ships. So we're going to get, I think this accounts for one train worth of movement. So long as Lipasia is connected by rail to where your HQ is, you will get the benefit of one additional train for each of these convoys. So we'll definitely do this. I think it's a no-brainer to try to do that, just to get a little bit more trains in Army Group North. I don't know if Army Group North needs them. And one other thing is I don't know how the sharing between different army groups goes. So, I don't know. Also, I mean, while it's on the tip of my tongue, I should apologize. I keep calling these different things... I mean, it is a panzer group, but all the other ones are armies, right? So I don't know why I keep calling them army groups. Okay, field visit. So we can visit the front of one person and try to make him a little happier. Despite the fact that our political point situation is actually not amazing right now, at the moment, I'm going to choose North, because that's the one that we have, the worst relations with. So let's try to make things a little bit better with Von Lieb, and... And we didn't get shot and killed, that's always good too. I actually don't know what the bad event... I may never have had the bad event for field visit, so if anybody knows what it is, let me know. But we walked away from that one unscathed. We'll approve, again, another permanent bonus. This is only to defense. Okay, it'll be a permanent action point bonus. Yeah, that's worth doing. Even though... Von Lieb, we just made things better with him. Oh, no, they're worse already. Alright, the big decision. We're going to relocate the Army Group North base. I should have done it already. But we're going to... They have a bit of fuel. 3,000, not too much. But we're going to relocate it to Duneburg. And wow, that's going to take 12 days. That's horrible. But I think it's time. We'll have a little bit of fuel to... And we can always do... bring in Luftwaffe to do field deployments. Truck refit in Army Group North. Well, I think that because we're relocating, that also makes sense to do, even though the mileage isn't that high. I'm going to go ahead and order a refit here. So, hey, Von Lieb's happy about that. That's great. Army Group South. Well, that's a different situation. We actually do have the fuel there. And unfortunately, the problem with Army Group South is that it actually has a worse situation. It has more mileage on the trains. So I'd rather do this at the same time that I'm putting the HQ forward a little further. So I'm going to try to hold off just a little bit with that decision. I know that we're kind of already stuck though. I mean, man, we're already at the limit. I guess we'll be going down here now. And next turn we should have an opportunity to move this to Kiev, I think. And that's something I will probably say yes to. The only downside of waiting, I think, yeah, it's going to be 2 turns before we get a chance to do this again. But that's okay. I'll still do it in a week. And thankfully, Von Rundstedt didn't care too much about delaying a little bit. Alright, so let's also try to get away from... Okay, we got lucky again. Good. And hey, von Brauchwitz slightly... He's not happy, but... Alright, there's one more thing I'm doing, and actually already did before we end our turn here. I moved 4th Panzer Group headquarters 1 hex further, and normally if I was just doing that, I wouldn't even come back in. You know, that's probably fine if I don't show that on camera, but... It occurred to me that we're in Blitzkrieg posture, and because of that, that's actually not a good thing because... we're not going to get any fuel having switched over. So I think this is actually the right time for us to play our posture card to move to a sustained posture for the 4th Panzer Group. Now this comes with a 4-turn delay, which means that it's probably also a good time, although it's crazy because we could really push further, but I think it's also a good time for us to do a rest. I didn't plan this at all, but I think it's the right move, considering there's nothing going on, and we're adjusting to Dunenberg. You saw it was going to take 12 days to do that move, which is a hell of a long time. So we're going to do it. We're going to rest them here, and you know they have the refit coming. We're going to be resupplying our troops, or replenishing our troops, in the coming turns. We're not really in any danger of being attacked, so this is, I feel like it actually is a really good time to be doing this. So, there it is. It'll take 8 days. So hopefully, it's been already 2 turns with the Guderian's Panzer Group, right? So, we'll do it here. And now we'll end the turn. Okay, here we go. We got movement north. We got movement east. We got... Oh, attack! 204,000. Holy cow. That was the pocketed forces attacking us. Looks like it went really well for us. I mean... They might be desperate, but lots of movement along the eastern front in the Army Group Center. They have so many forces here, it's actually kind of intimidating to look at. Oh wow, very aggressive push by one of their armor units. It's kind of cutting me off, or at least isolating some forces. And the movement just continues. Moscow must be their first priority or something, because that is so many units. Alright, they blew the bridge and they're moving south from the Army of North. They attacked us in the north. I didn't see the numbers. It looked like 1,000 or so for our losses, which is significant. And that is that. Alright, let's move on. General Bulla. Some panzer divisions should be stripped to fill other divisions. That would get us to Kharkov with about 50% operational tanks. He suggests the divisions destined for cannibalization will surrender the bulk of their material and all personnel save their HQs. Those skeleton divisions will be returned to the zone interior. Oh yeah, we have the mobilization, that's right. So we get replacements. We can look at this basically every 10 turns, you get more units. We can look at the High Command in Berlin to check out the replacements received and sent out under the unit details. I'll have to remember that. And we'll check that later. Okay. Von Bach has given us a bonus to 9th Army, and that's in center, and South has given us a bonus to 11th and 4th. Again, kind of weak on the bonuses, but we'll take at least what we got. Oh, okay, good. So Riga's brought them down to 100. 1 plus 1 plus 1. Hey, well, this looks. I can work with this. Well, I'm still taking in the turn resolution and trying to figure out what's really going on for us. We'll revisit that turn history right now real fast. Honestly, a lot of it is not super significant. I would say that last resolution was like very significant, but this one's a little bit more expected, maybe you could say. So let's see, this is Army Group South. We do notice a lot of movement, of course, when it's just in the history, these show up as red, but we'll see in a second those are actually conscripts. This was the big attack, which went extremely well for us. We only lost 200, they lost 4,000, and, you know, one set of tanks as well. I don't really understand what the movement inside this cutoff pocket is, what they're accomplishing there. But the great news for me is they didn't take the mountain hex to the south, so I can finally occupy that. And we might shift further east or start pushing them that direction. One other thing I could do, and I may do, is try to do a 3-sided attack on this middle hex, which will isolate the group to the north, and then I can eliminate those guys. It would be pretty fun to clump these guys all into the same hex, and then just eradicate them in one single huge battle with like 30 of them. But I don't know if that's optimal from like a casualty standpoint. There's also some new troops showing up on the easternmost part by Odessa. I guess I shouldn't say eastern. I guess it is true, technically true. It's the easternmost, but just barely. So yeah, Odessa is my furthest push east, but yeah, it's not consequential, those reinforcements yet. Nothing to worry about. It's nothing like Army Group Center, which is actually quite dire. I'm going to speed through a lot of these things. There's a lot of movement, but nothing of substance, I found. Except for the one little thrust that their armored division does. But it just gets cut off immediately. Or, I mean, obviously I'm just going to cut this thing off and eliminate it. So I don't really know what the purpose of that was. It does technically cut off my 2nd Panzer Group from a road access for resupply. But since we're that's one road hex, then 2 non-road hexes, and actually entering the city I think is 1 anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And then we're back on the road. So I think that basically 2nd Panzer Group is it's probably very low truck resupply cost, even though they cut off the road route. Okay, then more movement, and eventually... I mean, it's pretty substantial how much movement. It's scary how many forces they have. And it makes me think, we had the huge pocket that we cut off in Bialystok. We cut off some other minor pockets in Minsk. Not much in Minsk though, right? And one just outside of Vilnius. But, maybe Army Group Center... we did have that huge one in Bialystok, but besides that, I guess this is where a lot of the Soviet reinforcements have been going. Anyway, I don't want to talk too much about that, so... Yeah, Ostrov, they did... Well, besides blowing the bridge, which happened at the beginning of the turn, they do have some movement here, so there are some reinforcements finally trickling in. And they're even, it looks like, trying to come in and help. This force is going to move down there. I don't know what the point of that was. And then a lot of movement. Oh yeah, there was a second battle, that's right. This one didn't go quite as well for us, but still overall in our favor. It's about 6-1 in terms of casualties. Now note that because we took gun losses, they did break through the front line, so to speak. So that you can't... normally you only suffer infantry losses if your front line is unbroken, but if your guns are exposed, then yeah, then they're at risk of being destroyed, and that was the case here. Another terrifying thing we're going to see, they're using KV-1s, and KV-1s in this game are insanely good. They are insanely good. Takes like true massed German armor to eliminate those things, or to get lucky in a defensive like that. I don't think there's anything else really. Yeah, so we just have a few more units appearing, which are probably I don't want to say it's the 2nd Army. It's not 4th Army, but 2nd Army. Okay, so reinforcements are technically starting to arrive. We can go over to Berlin, unit troops, and we can see, unit details. So this is actually a little bit confusing because in the reinforcement type, you can see that it doesn't show tanks, and none of these things are tanks. Yet, so one might wonder, did I not get any tanks? We go to unit details and we go to replenishments received, and we do in fact see that there are, right there, Panzer IIs, 3s, and 4s. We received 75, 110, and 25. Now, what was demanded of those reinforcements? Well, not surprisingly, every single one of the... all of the Panzer IIs, all the Panzer IIIs, and all the Panzer IVs. In fact, we're running a deficit. We have 50 more Panzer IIIs that we want that we cannot resupply. So I don't know if we're going to be taking as large of armored losses now as we did in the first couple of turns, which were pretty brutal. So hopefully we'll get a chance to get our units back up to full strength. But yeah, we're going to have units that are not still, even after the replenishment phase, some of our armored divisions are not going to be fully resupplied. And the way we could control that if we wanted to, and I haven't done this yet, but I haven't really seen a need. I think if you were really focused on, a victory was not in, I'm not going to say it's a foregone conclusion, but I'm confident enough in our victory that I don't feel like I need to isolate in only one theater. If you were really playing this game against a tough opponent, probably in multiplayer or something like that, you might actually prioritize, okay, I need Army Group South because that's where Hitler currently wants us to go. So I'm going to focus on putting up the replenishment of these as a priority. So we could do that if we want. In fact, you wouldn't even have to do it this way. You could just go to the headquarters, wherever 1st Panzer Group is, and you could do that as a priority, and that acts as priority for everyone underneath as well. So those are all little tricks you can do, but none of those I'm going to be doing. I think that's all I wanted to cover of the babble that happens. Nope, there's one more I wanted to cover is the stats. And yes, the Soviet troops, I'm kind of hanging my head because, you think you got them and then this is what happens. So a lot of these are going to be conscripts, but unfortunately conscripts still fill the front and they still fight. So this is, we had an advantage. We had it for, 4 turns. I feel like we did push our advantage pretty well. We got across the Dvina, we got next to Odessa, we got the huge pocket, so we'll be eliminating more of these forces, hopefully faster than they refill. Because I think the Soviets also have some replenishment waves, and you can see that they replenished in big time. Casualties-wise, still on steady pace here, another 110. So better than the previous turn. Yeah, better than the previous 2 turns. A slight uptick, but we also suffered about 8,000 casualties. Looks like we're pretty much on par for that. What is this, turn 10? So yeah, we're averaging about 9,000 casualties a turn. So, advantage us, obviously. I think 10 to 1 is probably the ratio that, that's a good spot to be, and we're above that. Okay, let's go on to the Army Group North. I think I can do all of it right here. There's not a whole lot to do, and that's kind of the nice thing when you have these turns of rest. We basically have one thing to do up here, which is eliminate this one infantry. So we've got it cut off, surrounded, and that's actually kind of a lot of losses. Wow, we almost didn't do it, too. So we lost 800, but we lost 800, but we did eliminate 10,000. The entire division is gone. Guess I'll take that. Now, yes. So we're going to start pulling some units back, though. We can't do anything. So basically, the southern front is getting to be a little bit more dangerous. Good, we're still there. So that's going to be the new focus, is we're going to have to shift south. We're going to have to bring some of our Karelian HQ forces down to defend. This city, Viborg, it was attacked. And this is where their KV-1s are. And look at these things. They're just ridiculous. This is 195 defense, 58 soft attack, 90 hard attack. So 195, 58, 90. Let's just grab any armor here. Let's pick up my Panzer III, which is a very good tank, right? 195, so about comparable. 50 and 90, right? So it's just insane. Was theirs 50? So their KV-1 is, 58 versus my 45 or whatever it was, and then 90 versus my 70? So the KV-1 is to be feared, but you can, because of the numbers advantage the Germans have, you can still eliminate them. But I don't know. I guess it's just I'm like a telling a horror story or whatever. The numbers of the KV-1s are not high enough to really be that significant, but it's something to keep an eye on. And that's why we're going to be shipping forces south. They just have too many units here, and there's nothing I can do about those. I'm kind of glad that they're there and not by Ostrov, but we still have to react to that presence. Okay, so it's all hands on deck. We got to take Riga, and it won't happen this turn. And now that we already rebased to Dunenberg, I don't really need this to fall immediately. The only disadvantage of Riga not being in my hands is simply that it's holding up the push forward. And since we do have, I guess we would like most for the rail south of Riga to be intact. But assuming the Jakobstad one is enabled, and that one I think is unfortunately not going to be enabled first. We can go to the reports, go to Army Group North. We can see that there's 2 bridges that are being rebuilt here. One's only at 20, one's at 10%. That's the, I think the 10% one is the Jakobstad one, unfortunately. Yeah, 28, 26 is Jakobstad. So unfortunately, that one's going to take quite a long, I mean, we could get lucky, but, it's... Usually you don't have to get all the way to 50%. So, it's only plus 5% a turn, though. And you can see we already got the other bridge, which is the one I don't care about as much. The Dunenberg second bridge. That one is at 20%, so we have a 20% chance to roll. It'll be 25% next turn. So if we roll the same way this turn as we did next turn, we'll get it. But, it's only 1 in 4 chance. Is there anything else I wanted to consider here? Yeah, so we're at Riga, and we're reducing their entrenchment down to 100. But I'm still going to wait one more turn. God, man, this is just crazy. It's brutal. So they're, even with their entrenchment down to 100, I think it's going to be a tough fight. And we want to get as many people on the northeast side as possible. Ideally, I would even move at least one more. Because right now we have 2 forces, and then, on the south I just want 1 and 1. I don't want many people because they're going to be attacking over a river, and I want to minimize the combat penalties we're facing. So yeah, I moved this panzer headquarters far enough that it would be in range. Turns out that's a big fat doesn't matter because we ended up doing the rest anyway. But 16th Army does have the ability to do something, so we're going to go ahead and move a lot of these forces into this hex. We have somebody here who actually surprisingly can't do anything. You can move here to do the attack from there. I think one other person can do the attack from there. You cannot. And you can move up so we can get 3 sides. First of all, we'll do the attack on this unit, which can only be attacked by 2 of them. And then 4 of them will attack the motorized. So this is just because they're in the marsh. And marsh gives a 50% penalty even on defense to those armored. So I'm just trying to take advantage of it. Hoping that we just get some free kills in here. That, to say that was mediocre is a wild understatement. That we didn't really accomplish anything. I mean, I guess we didn't lose anybody. So that's the positive, that we did inflict damage without taking any ourselves. But such a minimal amount of damage to inflict. That could have gone a lot better. But it didn't, so we just move on. And now the attack against the motorized. Hopefully this one goes a little bit better. Well, that's about as good as it can go. No losses, and we broke the division. They're gone. Good. So we'll move people in. No reason not to. That's getting them in the direction I want them to go. Even that one, yeah. I don't think we'll move that one down, though. Do we want to move these guys in there? Maybe one of them. Well, if we're going to move one, we might as well move 2. Now, our guns won't defend quite as well in there. It will give us more intel. I think we'll take it for the intel. Believe it or not. Intel's more important. Alright, you can move up there. You can move... Well, we actually want somebody to be shifting east, though. Nobody can really go east. Because unfortunately, these guys, we have to be covering the 4th Panzer Group units. Since they are resting. I don't think the Army Group Center Soviet forces are going to leak across the border and try to attack me. But I wish I didn't have to worry about that even. The fact that we have to worry about it is just kind of sad. Shows we need to get the forces around Pollux cleaned up. Alright, let's see. If we move here, we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we can move all the way up. Wow, pretty far, actually. I'll do it, too. Is that... Okay, good, that's the limit. So everyone's in range, everyone will be supplied, because we have this road, which should help us supply the very bold 126th Infantry Division. And they're really going the wrong way anyway. I need to... You know, it's fun to play around in this and take territory, but these guys need to shift over. Their mission is Ostrov, Pskov, and Luga, all this. I'll probably reassign... Oh, it looks like we already did assign. I could assign the artillery over to the 18th Army, and not only that, besides the artillery, I could actually give them the Luftwaffe, which isn't going to be doing anything for my Panzer group. It's only 1 point, so I think I'm going to play it for the 18th. Alright, 47% bonus. I'll take it. Well, I guess they get it next turn. It was 18th Army, right? Yeah, well, anyways, it was the right thing to do. We may also want to redeploy the artillery for north. This is 3 political points. Maybe I won't do that, because I do want that ultimately back on the 16th Army anyways. So I think I'm just going to allow the Luftwaffe to help out, and then we'll transfer them back to 4th Panzer Group, you know, when the time comes. I'm actually going to leave the 4th Panzer Group unit here too, even though Dunenberg is the new forward supply base. So being back here doesn't really matter to us. I'm just hoping that one of these bridges, I mean, what I'm trying to say is, I'm hoping the Jakobstad bridge gets fixed so that I can go across that bridge, which will be more fuel efficient than having to go around Dunenberg. By like, seriously, we're sweating like 25 fuel, but I guess when you only have 3,000, 25 actually starts to matter. And that should be both my, like, all of Army Group North, including the Finnish theater. Alright, I'm going to try to sneak in Army Group South as well, try to do this pretty quickly. We're going to start off with some very bloody attacks against Odessa, just get this carnage starting. It might go on for a few turns. So far, so good. Oh my god, they panicked, and that was perhaps the luckiest we have been all the entire game so far. I don't know if it was that lucky, but that's really what we wanted, was for just the panic to happen, and once that happens, you're home free. So that is exceptionally lucky. Now we just want to start getting these units moving northward. Don't suspect. I mean, I'm surprised. Even with... So this 4th Romanian was one of the ones who got the action point bonus. So it'll show here that they got the plus 20 action points for command efficiencies. You wouldn't think that, you know, it's going to help, but it does. In that case, it might have been the difference between us eliminating them or not. But I think as soon as they panicked, that was already the end of it for them. We still need to hold this side of the river for just, you know, one more turn. So what I want to do is position my forces in places where we essentially can have security patrols. I want to, first of all, definitely hold the bridge crossing. But then I like to think of it as like security patrols, the zone of control. So we now have zone of control across the whole river. They're going to have to, they can't take territory from us, at least on the south side of the Bug, without actually coming on this side of the river itself. Now we also have some fun with this this big pocket, right? What to do with this? I'm going to try to use the HQ, single HQ bonuses as much as possible. So we do have the a stack of 5 units here. It looks like 2 armor in very bad shape, 1 motorized in bad shape, and then 2 infantry, which are not in terrible shape. Now note that these units, when they have low, this integrity, it says right there, if unit drops below 40%, it can break. So if they have low integrity, they may just shatter in battle. And 3 of these units do have low integrity. So that's hopefully going to play to our advantage when I do the attack. And I'm going to be spreading them out like this, so that we can do the attack from as many sides as possible. We'll get only the 17th HQ involved here. And then maybe 1 unit. How about you? Good. So we could attack with more. I guess more is always better. So even though it's be facing a penalty because of the river, but I'll still do it because it's under the attack stack limit and it's more offense. Oh my god, that went great. So it looks like one of them broke, 3 of them panicked, and only 1 really retreated. Okay, but that I say that, but 4 of the 5 are actually moving back into the next hex. Still, 0 losses for 8,400 casualties on the Soviet side. So the Pockup cleanup has officially begun. I mean, that is cleanup in a big, big way. I know that a lot of these guys dumped back into this one. What do they have there? They only have 1 motorized who's worth really considering. Well, I did just use a lot of action points on the 17th Army's side of things. Yeah, it looks like these guys are all going to be going there. But what we could do, and I think we will do, is we could follow up with an attack with the 3rd Romanian, because they've been itching to get into the fight too. I don't think we can attack, from more than 3 sides. Definitely not. Yeah, there's nobody who's going to be able to get anywhere else, but that's fine. What we'll do is we'll do the attack from 3 sides. 40 versus 35, so let's move 1 in here, and you in here, and then do the attack. I guess with everybody who's left. It's not going to be that many. Oh wait, are you... Yeah, you're 11th. Yep, so that's how this is going to go. Alright, got our bonus. It's only 205 versus 152, so I'm heavily relying on the fact that their quote-unquote 152 is full of units like this. And I don't even know how that's adding up to 152. I'm still going to roll the dice here. Let's do it. It's Romanian troops anyway, so... That's kind of what I expected was happening. I'm not really sure how much to believe those combat numbers sometimes. 152, I should say, it's not the combat value. Those are just attack stack limits that I'm looking at, so you don't necessarily want to do the 3-to-1 ratio based on that. That's just, so they have a lot of units left, but look at, they're all very low readiness, and, that went very well. 200 Romanian losses for almost 10,000. And now the south side of the river is entirely clear, which is cool. We've done it. Alright, I don't move you. I think we're going to start moving you guys east. I really don't think the 3rd Romanian needs to be here anymore, because, really, this pocket is, I mean, it's on the verge of being cleaned up already. So I'm just gonna kind of plan that we're gonna be moving east pretty soon. Now, I would like to close off the mountain and make sure that that's not where we end up getting forces, so I will move the 11th Army into the southern mountain area. My plan is right now to move the units that are in this road hex out of the way, so that possibly the Soviet units in the mountains will come out of the mountains for a drink of water or whatnot, I don't know. And then we can actually eliminate them on the road below the mountains. That would be a lot easier for me. I mean, we've seen how quickly they go, but still going to be easier if we do it, like I said, on the road, not in the mountains. So I think that we'll continue our we want to try to maximize the number of sides we're attacking from, which gives us more of an attack bonus. So although I would like to surround, eliminate the forces in the middle and then just surround the northern forces, I think what we're going to do is just keep taking our advantages where we have them, and we have a huge advantage in terms of numbers here. So I don't think either of these forces can move southeast in attacks. We're going to have to do it like this, maybe 1 here, and I will attack with them. And then I want to load up as many of these guys as I can, or I don't need to load up that many, but any additional ones from here to get us to that limit. This should be just a slaughter, but they do have 2... So we have 75% concentric bonus, which is very good. Yeah, but they do have 2 infantry, which are pretty intact. We can kind of see them. Where are they? I mean, even their tank divisions, they have no supply, though. That's going to be working against them. As we were hoping. We were definitely hoping they wouldn't. Look at this, down to 8. Readiness of 8. Readiness of 0. Readiness of 4? Well, I thought that they were okay, but the yellow here is very deceiving, right? A readiness of 4 means essentially they are combat completely ineffective. And they have no supply. So they should fight just horribly. Okay, well let's see what actually... Okay, this unit? What the hell? Where did this unit come from? This one's completely intact, completely has all of its integrity. So we're basically all attacking this one unit. I think it's the only one that's really going to defend for the Soviets. Probably the one that did all the casualties. Still, didn't eliminate... Okay, I was going to say we didn't eliminate any forces, but that's a little deceptive. We actually took out both the HQs. One of these guys, one of the armored group, is just like completely out of shape, but it's still retreated with all their tanks. This is a lot of casualties, though. Another 11,000. So if I'm not mistaken, that's basically 10, 10, and another 10 here, isn't it? We've already taken 30,000 units out of this pocket. But yeah, I'm trying to minimize our casualties. That's the focus. And also, I guess to a degree, freeing up different armies to move further east. Like, ultimately, what I'd like to see is that 17th Army is the only one who needs to do these attacks. So anyways, we'll move that guy across. I'm not sure what your role will be. We'll leave you hanging for a moment. You can move in. Yeah, we probably did the attack with what? All of them here? I don't really want to move all of them out, though. There is a question to be asked about whether or not we should attack this hex next. I'm going to go ahead and say no. Yeah, so I'll do the 65, and then I'll move one of these guys in. He's at 42 readiness, though. Jeez. Alright, that one's a little bit better. He actually could attack. Can anybody here attack? No. Yeah, it's not the right timing to do the attack on this unit. So, let's also do our other trick, as I mentioned. Yeah, you could move in. Right. We could move in with the 11th Army, but I think that their time is done here. Alright, let's move the 68 south. No, let's move the 68 east and the... How about the 64 south and 47 east? Okay, good. So that's the little pocket that we're, you know, in theory, going to let them just escape from. The armor indeed. Well, the armor might be useful if we can attack in the plains in either direction. So 68. It's a little bit lower. I'm going to go in here and defend. Yeah, we got a lot of units that don't have a lot of action points, though. I think I'm going to get this guy to cross. Can get a little bit of help out against with that garrison. I'm just going to play... I'm just going to go for it here. I'm not going to move that one into the fight. The pocket fight. Okay, so that's that. That's the pocket. I think we're all good on that front. And really, it's quite time to end the episode, but we still haven't done Army Group 6th Army yet. It's good. I can hopefully just do this pretty quickly. So 6th Army is going to go into Kiev. We see a new threat has emerged. This guy doesn't have a whole lot of readiness, so I'll move him south. And you don't have a lot of readiness. We'll move you, double you up there. And the other one who does have a lot of readiness, yeah, just try to keep the ones with the highest readiness as the ones that would face battle, most likely to face battle. So, if I'm not mistaken, that's actually in... Go there, steal that last Soviet territory. So that's what it's going to look like. We're going to leave that marsh. You know, I'll just have to avert our eyes and pretend it doesn't exist. But all the other territory that was Soviet has now been taken over officially as German. And then we have a lot of movement for the rest of the 6th Army. They're going to be coming north, which we know. Do this. Somebody else is here, and that guy, I guess. Since he can't do any attack or assist at all, we'll just move him up north. You guys are probably just going to be moving north as well. Move you all the way over here. Yeah, we're just barely in range, but we'll be moving north next turn. And I think 6th Army is also going to have to move north. I mean, this is... the combat strength on these units is not very good, but it does force you to react. It does force you to fill out something like a front line, which you can see we've already done here. Now, when they come into range, I don't know if we'll be counterattacking or what we're going to do exactly. Honestly, 6th Army needs to kind of consolidate. I want to eliminate this force first so that we're clear on this side of the river. And then once the battle is just in this eastern part of the river, we're good to go. Then I can move all of my forces together. We can try to take at least 3-sided attacks. even if it requires attacking across. This is a major river, though, unfortunately. So we'd incur quite a large penalty. But it would still give us the concentric bonus. We just need to break through like one spot, and then you can use that to kind of get more 3-sided attacks, yada yada. Alright, the only one who I haven't really moved yet is 1st Panzer Group, and that's because I'm not sure exactly what I want to do with them. I think all the other... So we'll move... Wow, I can't believe we actually conquered it. I can't believe it. That's really something. So that means next turn, 11th Army, we actually do want them to kind of get across the river. So this will probably be, you move here, you move here, and we'll get 3 sides of attack that way. Yeah, we'll probably get, we might even do the attack. We can do the attack like that. That would be already enough since this is just a garrison. It's not very, you know, it has high entrenchment, but not, it's not very combat effective. I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Or lack of a bridge in this case, just cross the river. Haha, so funny. Okay, let's see. What are we going to do here? So we want to take out this garrison. I think that what we want to do is use the motorized to do the surround, because that will leave... it doesn't take that much fuel. But before I do that, we want to do our usual tricks, which is move the fuel-hungry panzers as far forward as possible before, you know, we see the enemy and we get zone of control penalties. So I think that moving here is fine. I know that they're in Karavolgrad, but if we move here, that would technically push us through Karavolgrad and it'll stop us outside the city. But we can get here for, you know, without paying the penalty. We can get here kind of for free. Wow, that worked out. Wow, I guess I almost got lucky. I don't know if we would have seen that stack of units if they were north of Karavolgrad. I think we would have, but you know, I'm not 100% sure. All right, we're probably going to want to move some of these guys forward as well, especially this SS group. Wow, we can move them all the way this way. Where do I need to get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need to get... Well, if I'm going to get here, I might as well get here. So let's move... We don't have any forces to the north. The only thing keeping us more towards the north is that's where the road runs. This is just insane. The truck route to get there is just not feasible, but I think that we do indeed have a relocate base in Army Group South. So that's what we're going to be doing. In fact, we might as well just do that now. And I think I am going to move to Kiev. The reason for the Kiev move is not because it's ideal. I mean, Proskuro is like pretty much almost as close, but once we have the route to Kiev settled, then out of Kiev to get to the 1st Panzer Group is going to move along the double Soviet rail. So that's pretty good. So even though it's, you know, even we have a 10 hex limit, right? But at least the truck penalty won't be, the truck cost won't be too high. So I might as well just do that right now. I'm going to go ahead. We're going to do it. We're going to relocate to Kiev. And that's going to take, oh God, another 3 turns. Okay, so we have to manage this fuel very carefully, which is one of the reasons why I haven't been moving these guys. In fact, that we already relocated means I no longer care where this headquarters is. Like, I don't need to keep near a road. So I'll just do stuff like this. And then what we can do is, with this really far forward moving, we can pull one of the panzer groups forward. I think so 16th is in better shape. We'll probably pull 14th first then. Alright, we still haven't done this attack though, which I guess what we'd want to do is use the Cav as much as possible, because they are free to move around and they actually fight well in the cities as well. Well, we'll use you here. We'll have you move down here, and then we'll have... Perfect. So 3 sides around. I mean, what would be ideal is if we weren't going to push them off, but let's be honest, this unit, once we've attacked and dislodged them with their entrenchment and all that, they're going to be basically combated and effective in the field. So let's just hope we don't take too many losses. We didn't, that's good. They did, which is even better. But just conscripts, of course, at this point. We're going to be facing a lot of conscripts. We'll get all these guys, except for the... Yeah, well, those 3 are not going to move anywhere. Good. So I think we're pretty much done and ready to call this turn to a close. I'm probably going to finish up and do a little bit more with Army Group South in the next episode, but we're just running out of time episode-wise, so I'm going to call it here. So until the next one, thanks for watching, stay safe, and take care.